This is Channel Attitude. Your voice, your right, your freedom.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Smack Attack. I am your host Jimmy T and my co-host, he's filling in for R to the B to the V. He's on assignment somewhere, out there somewhere, but he'll be back next week. But he is the Magnanimous, he is the glorious, and heck, you even know him from the Pro Wrestling Reflection that he does every week with Tommy Wonder, Professor Chabelo Vera Cruz. Welcome to the Smack Attack, and we are live on HMG Media Group's YouTube channel, and of course, channelattitude.com after the fact. Prof, how are you, man? I put the signal up again, and you grabbed it with both hands, man.
You know, how many nights there's bad weather in the Professor's Bombay area? There's probably bad weather in Australia. So you know what? You can hit little jump skips in that fight. It is what it is right now. So, you know, I'm going to do my best. Jimmy T's going to do his best. How many nights? Just bear with us. But we're going to get on to this Smack Attack. And before we even start, I just want to say for the How many nights in the chat right now, and for the How many nights, give this man, Jimmy T, some flowers, man. The man has been watching 2 days worth of wrestling for this past week. He's been reviewing WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2. He's been doing the Raw reviews, man. Give this man, Jimmy T, some flowers. I'm on Strong J, Jimmy. Strong J, you know, you deserve this, man. You stayed up. Man. I didn't stay up. Yeah, you stayed up. I didn't stay up. When the pay-per-view was over, I went to sleep. Jimmy T stayed up for all you how many nights to give you a great review. So that's all I'm going to say right now.
Well, first of all, Prof, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I'm thinking, why is everyone giving me all these flowers, man? MSG was putting me over. Ben was putting me over. Now you're putting me over. God damn it, man. My head's about to explode, literally. But thank you. I appreciate it, you know, a lot. You don't understand how much that means. But in saying that, I don't blame you for falling asleep, Prof. Because, look, night one, I did the review right after night one. But then I did a watch along for night two. And after that finish, I was angry, dude. So I said, fuck this. I'm not reviewing the show. I can't because I'll just be completely negative. And thank God I waited 24 hours because I did end up reviewing.
Don't be one of those. No, don't be one of those people, man. Don't say that was the worst main event in WrestleMania history. Don't say that.
No, it's the finish. The finish left me with a bad taste, Prof.
No, don't say that. No, it's wrong. It's wrong. You see, don't really? Fall into the trap. Don't fall into that trap, man. It was a year-long story that people just don't want to say. People just don't want to acknowledge, not your tribal chief acknowledge, but it's been a year-long story. If you just peel out the onions right there, that's all I'm going to say. You know what I mean? The Rock orchestrated a plan. You know, this is the problem. This is the problem with Dave LaGreca. This is the problem with the podcasters. Not trying to call people out, but again, it's subjective how you look at this, but the Professor, the most subjective man in this IWC, YWC, PWC punditry, it was a year-long formulated, calculated plan by The Rock to get Cody Rhodes to lose his title. He couldn't get the Bloodline to do it because Cody Rhodes disintegrated the Bloodline. He caused the friction with the Bloodline. That's why it was Solo against Roman Reigns. He had to formulate certain plans like that Bad Blood where he came out and just put up the one. He just put up the one and people said, what is The Rock talking about? Then the Netflix thing happened. I'm trying to school all the Hami Nights in the chat before people say the Professor, you're wrong. Then the Netflix debut, The Rock was praising everybody. was praising Cody Rhodes. He was drinking tequila shots with Cody Rhodes. But the professor was laying in the weeds saying, don't fall for this. Don't fall for this, Mark Targe, because The Rock is setting y'all up. He's a sociopath. The final boss's character is a psychopath. He was laying in the weeds. Then he got to Cody Rhodes' mental. After a year-long reign as the heavyweight champion, Rock knew this was the perfect time and the perfect opportunity. Cody Rhodes was the quarterback. The company was on his back and all that stuff. Then The Rock said, you know what? I'm going to give you the world. Just sell me your soul. Now, you can interpret it all you want, how many nights, but he was just saying that. But he said he just wanted to get Cody Rhodes to let his guard down. Because, of course, Cody Rhodes is like, The Rock is cool right now. I got no problem. I got no beef with The Rock. But then The Rock got in his mental. Then people saw the John Cena thing. Then people assumed, and this is the thing, what do you do when you assume? You make an ass out of you and me. But they assumed that John Cena sold his soul. No, he didn't. John Cena, I will tell all the Haminites right there, whether you believe it or not, John Cena never sold his soul to The Rock. All The Rock did was tell him some truth bombs. He told John Cena 25 years worth of truth bombs. It was a toxic relationship. They never liked you. They never respected you. And the one thing, I'm just telling you the facts. I got the receipts, Jimmy. And he told John Cena, Cody Rhodes is excuse me, excuse me, I had something in my throat. Cody Rhodes is riding your coattails. Cody Rhodes is taking advantage of your, John Cena, your hard work. And that's why he nutshotted him in the Elimination Chamber. Then you had the Travis Scott thing. Oh, I'm going to get to that, how many nights?
I'm loving this.
I'm going to get into this because even Dave LaGreca was getting mad and pissed off. Ariel Helwani was getting pissed off. JD was getting pissed off. Salamas was getting pissed off because all y'all motherfuckers wanted to say The Rock had to be there at WrestleMania. No, he didn't. That's why he had an underling, and his name was Travis Scott. He was doing the bidding of the final boss. He wasn't doing the bidding. John Cena wasn't doing the bidding of the final boss. It was Travis Scott. John Cena already had his own plan, and the plan was to get Cody Rhodes to let his guard down because Cody Rhodes, during the weeks, Jimmy, of this WrestleMania buildup that you didn't like, was trying to get John Cena to be the hero that he admired, the hero that he respected, the hero that he wanted to emulate when he became the heavyweight champion. And of course, John Cena nutshotted him and became a 17-time GOAT champion. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, you just have to interpret it the way you see it. And I'm being a fan, Jimmy. I'm being a fan and enjoying what I saw. I'm not being an analyst. I'm not being a critical analyst. I'm not being a podcaster. I'm just being a fan of telling y'all what I saw. So I didn't feel cheated out of my $14.99 Peacock subscription. I don't feel cheated out of my $14.99. I don't feel cheated out of. Yes, it has. I don't feel cheated. I don't feel cheated out of my $15 a month Netflix subscription. No, I don't. Now, for the people who pay $50,000, $60,000, I forget who was it. West Side Gun said $50,000. I need a refund or something. I'll tell you what West Side Gun was mad at. He was mad that he did not get the Travis Scott's spot. That's what he was mad at. I paid $50,000 to sit down. He wanted to do what Travis Scott did, take the crossroads from Cody Rhodes. That's all it is. I just gave you receipts, Reflection Nights. I gave you receipts, Hummy Nights, and all that stuff. And now let's enjoy the ride of John Cena's 17th reign. And all it is he's just giving you what y'all been wanting him to do, ruin wrestling. I love it. I'm sorry. I just love it. I mostly love it. I mostly love it because y'all hate it. That's why I love it even more.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's a perfect segue to get into the news, shall we? Because this is going to continue, damn it, Prof. You'll see. Well, Prof, that leads us also now to The Rock and Triple H and the beef that's supposedly happening. But before I do that, I do want to say RIP to Steve Mongo McMichael, who sadly just passed away. Man, say what you will about Mongo. He was a legend in my eyes. Yes, he's a legend in football. He played for the Chicago Bears. He won Super Bowls, I believe, if I remember correctly, right, Prof?
Won a Super Bowl for the Chicago Bears. Did the ultimate heel turn by joining the Green Bay Packers too. So, in the NFL lore, you can't do that, but it is what it is. But Steve Mongo McMichael never cared how many nights. And of course, he was part of the Four Horsemen legacy. And some people can be subjective and say that's not one of the greatest times of the Four Horsemen legacy. But again, that's your taste, not mine. But former United States champion, had a rivalry with Bill Goldberg, had a rivalry with British Bulldog. He betrayed Kevin Green to join the Four Horsemen and all that stuff. So again, he has his history within the wrestling industry. And you know what? He was in pain for the last couple of years. So you know what? That's the thing I'll say. God bless him. He's not in pain anymore. So I never wanted to see him in bed. I never wanted to see him in hospice care. I wanted him to have a natural, healthy life, and he could not do that. So it's better for him to go out this way. Thank God he's not in pain no more. That's all I'll say.
I agree, man. What was it where he was battling? AES or something like that?
ALS.
Oh, ALS, that's it. It sounds devastating, man. It's apparently like you're still switched on up here in your head, but you can't move, supposedly.
Your body is shut down from head to toe, but you are you are alive. You can, you feel the pain. It's all, if you saw his face kind of like shrunk and stuff like that. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible, man. And, RIP to him. He'll always be a legend in my book, man, for both pro wrestling and, of course, in the NFL. But yeah, RIP to him and condolences to his family. But, Prof, we need to get into some big news because I called this a few weeks ago. I was saying there seems to be trouble in Little Tokyo, literally. Something was off, I felt, between The Rock and Triple H. I also pointed out how at Triple H's Hall of Fame ceremony, he didn't even thank The Rock. And now you could arguably say that The Rock was Triple H's biggest rival coming up.
Mm-hmm. You could say that. I mean, it was even shown on the Young Rock. Even The Rock said from his perspective of his kind of like dealings with Triple H during his come up and all that stuff. So it was there on the Young Rock. And again, if you watch the 2-day, 40-hour induction speech of Triple H.
Oh my God! I watched that from start to finish, Prof.
God, that's why you get your flowers. You did all this stuff. You watched all this stuff. I mean, I can't
believe I did it, man.
I tried to watch it. I couldn't. I lasted like 30 minutes, but I couldn't last it with that Triple H speech. But again, it's a professional rivalry. What do you expect, Jimmy? Between The Rock and Triple H and all that stuff. This is 25 years in the making between them. The professional jealousy, it's all that. And again, The Rock's coming in as a TKO board member. Triple H has gotten the reins. He's gotten the keys to the castle, if you will. How many nights with the pen? He's the head creative writer. We've heard about it for the last year from Vince Russo and other people that, The Rock is trying to take Triple H out of that job so this way he can be the head booker and the head writer. But again, that's a little bit of, I don't believe it anymore because The Rock has too many things that would not have him be, engaged, if you will, Jimmy, 24/7 as the head creative writer for WWE. So what if you have Brian Gertz? You might have him as your underling, if you will. If you want to give him the pen, then I'll grant you that, Jimmy. But if Rock is always being swayed by Hollywood, swayed by the UFL, swayed by, fashion, Fifth Avenue, Wall Street, and all this bullshit, and he's not engaged. You can say what you will about Triple H, how many nights, but he's engaged to being the head writer and the booker for WWE, and it will do it until someone says, Triple H, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah, and see, it's funny because, our very own Bin Hamin Yalla has been saying for months that Triple H is going to be like eventually let go by next year. Say, same with our very own Vince Russo. He's been saying the same thing, and I was disagreeing with him, and I'd say it on this show. Even the vet was disagreeing with him. You know, we both disagreed at the time about that assessment. But now I'm not sure anymore, man. I feel like The Rock is doing some sort of power play, or is it a case of whose dick is bigger between the two of them? Do you know what I mean? You could say Triple H is kind of a boss, but The Rock is above him even. So I don't know, man. I just feel like he's trying to bully his way in, maybe.
You could say that, but again, like I said, The Rock has got too many. His hands is in the too many cookie jars. That's what it is. So you can't be engaged. And TKO, Endeavor, whoever owns it, is all about the bottom line right now. So even if you want to put The Rock in, again, how committed is The Rock to being 24/7 in WWE day-to-day business? He's not. You already seen that for the last year. If he's going to film a movie with Martin Scorsese, he's going to have to go away for a little bit. That's why I said if Brian Gewirtz is going to be the head writer, it is what it is, because he was the head writer in the 2000s, like the mid-2000s. Right. So it is what it is. So if that's the way The Rock wants to do his power play, that's the only way it will work. It's not like The Rock wants to be the head writer. That's the only thing. That's why I say never. But again, Triple H has delivered. He's delivered the numbers. He's delivered the attendance. He's delivered the gate. He's done everything that TKO has asked for him to do in acquiring WWE. So he ain't firing anybody unless the numbers go down from year to year. As far as I'm concerned, Jimmy, the numbers have gone up from year to year in terms of merchandise, in terms of sponsorships, in terms of viewership, and all that stuff. So unless those numbers, you got some different numbers that, says Triple H should be let go. Tell me about that, Jimmy. Tell the Haminites that. I don't see it. Why would you?
No,
it's the dick move, like you said.
Yeah, well, look, for me, I'm a Triple H guy, no doubt about it, man. I don't want Triple H to lose his job fully. Like, I really don't. But make no mistake about it, as you said about the numbers. If those numbers start slipping, make no mistake about it. Don't be surprised if, Ari, Emmanuel, or TKO, whoever, decide to put someone else in over Triple H. You know what I mean? Maybe things weren't so pleasantry from last year. Do you remember when The Rock walked up to Triple H and said, "Fix it, damn it, or I will"? If you remember with the whole Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins thing at the WrestleMania 40 press conference. Do you remember all that?
Again, this is what I'll say. It's just like my picture. It's still real to me, damn it. But again, you got to blur the lines. We're in a different age, Jimmy, because again, the Marktards themselves, who knows everything that's going on behind the business, who pay their $5 a month for Patreon subscriptions of all dirt sheets and whatnot, it's your interpretation. So again, it's a little bit funny because again, I compartmentalize it, Jimmy. What I see going on at WrestleMania, I'm gonna be the fan and watch the story play out. But then when it's not that, and then I read it on Twitter, if I read it, if Ben Hameen says it on the locker room, if you say it on the Raw preview and all that stuff, I'll look at it and say, okay, I'm gonna compartmentalize it and say, okay, I'll analyze that. But if I see it, but if a camera's in your face, it's a little bit of a work, it's a little bit of a shoot. It's a work shoot. It's all the time. So you got to blur that. You got to blur that line. That's why people cannot separate it. And it's funny enough you talk about that because I think a couple of days ago, I think Jonathan Coachman was saying something about blurring the lines. I think with the Pat McAfee and Rock thing. I didn't mean to change the subject, but
no.
Jonathan Coachman was talking about that. It's like, when do you separate it? Well, the professor's going to answer, Coach, you can separate it if you choose to. I don't like peeling the curtain back, Jimmy, on let's say the Pat McAfee show personally. But I understand that's for the Pat McAfee show. But then when I watch Raw and I watch SmackDown, what am I going to do? I'm going to take what I don't like from Pat McAfee and say, oh, this is bullshit right now. I don't like this. This is not real. You know how I can separate that too? You know the difference?
How's that?
Remember,
tell me.
Remember what was it? AEW Revolution, where that actress chick said something about peeling the curtain back. What was she? She wasn't a wrestler. How many nights? Tell me when I'm telling lies. We got mad because she wasn't in the business. She was just an actress. And she even regretted saying that. But Pat McAfee, what is he? He's in the business. It's a little bit different. They're in the business. The podcasters, wrestlers, Stevie Richards, Ben Hameen, they're in the business to peel the curtain back and give you a sample of what's going on. I compartmentalize it. But then when the cameras go on, prime time for Raw and SmackDown and Dynamite and Collision, shout outs to the Wreckage. When you see that, separate it. Separate it from your mind, and then you'll enjoy the product even better. That's it. That's all I will say.
Well, that leads me into another good segue since you bring up work, shoot, and whatnot. Before I do that, though, I did want to point out The Rock did say to LaGreca, for example, on Twitter, that everything you see is a work. I mean, he was saying it. He was basically saying it to LaGreca. What you see is all bullshit, basically. So relax, settle down, and come and see how this shit works, basically, right? I'm not saying it verbatim, but that's basically what he was saying. And I find that interesting because he actually came out and said that, did he not? So he's pretty much telling you that it's a work.
Yeah. And again, Dave LaGreca felt some type of way. I saw podcasters feel some type of way. Again, the funny thing is, what's the problem, Jimmy? People can't compartmentalize it because then it's like, oh, wait, I have a right to be critical of what's going on in WWE. I have a right to be critical of what's going on in AEW. Don't get me wrong, I can be critical too. If I don't like something on WWE TV, I don't like it. But again, that's it. I'm still a fan. Not because I'm a fan, I have a right to be critical. I'm still a fan even if I don't get what I see on TV. If the professor books something and I don't see it on TV, I'm never going to say I'm not a fan or this company sucks. I'm just going to say I just don't like the way that they're doing it. That's all. It's natural. You can say that. But then if a wrestler's going to say, yeah, man, it's a work, chill out and be a fan, like Triple H has eloquently said, and the professor actually agrees, I'm saying it. Compartmentalize it. Separate yourself from what you don't like into what Triple H is saying, and then maybe you might enjoy a booking that's going on TV. That's it.
You said it right there. Nice. But then I want to ask you this.
And Jimmy, yeah. I know in the Hameen community, some people will not like what I'm saying. I can guarantee you. But again, that's what it is. Everybody has an opinion. We're all fans with different opinions, and that's what's supposed to make this beautiful. Can't have the same tribalistic opinion about something that sucks or something that's great.
No, you're right, man. And as a matter of fact, every opinion is not necessarily wrong because it's an opinion. Wrestling's very subjective, so you're right, man. Absolutely.
That's why you said John Cena and Cody Rhodes sucked. And I'm telling you, if you really peel the curtain back, I gave you receipts.
I know what you're saying because sense. John Cena said it. I'm going to ruin wrestling. And it's easy to fall into that bracket. And believe me, I've heard people explain that way too. But that can also be used as an excuse, in my opinion, for it sucking. Do you know what I mean? It's easy to fall back on that if something did suck.
Because people wanted The Rock in their own booking to come out and ruin it. And I'll say this. Rock came out in WrestleMania 40 for the bloodline, for Roman Reigns, for his tribal chief. It didn't work. So why would The Rock do it the second year in a row? Like I said, it was a long, arduous, orchestrated plan, and it worked. And Cody is off TV for a couple of months. Well, we know why, because his mental is gone right now. He can't believe his hero did that to him. So now he's got to regroup and then come back strong. Where will he come back strong? Money in the Bank.
And win the friggin' briefcase?
Beautiful.
He's going to get booed out of the building if this happens. I'm telling you.
Why would he get booed? Why?
I feel like this is why they're putting him away for now, because they hear what the fans are doing lately. I think they've made him take a break just so the fans grow, fond of him again. But if he comes back and wins the damn briefcase, I think that could backfire.
Well, we will see. That's all it is. That's the beauty of it. I don't think so. I think that's what you needed.
My opinion about this whole Rock deal, they should have done what they did at Elimination Chamber here at WrestleMania, dude, with Cena. Or have Cody turn heel at the time. That would have made an even bigger impact. That way, you might not have to rely on The Rock as much to be around. Because say what you will, like you did, The Rock screwed things around a lot, in 2025, man. And it all started from the Raw debut on Netflix. Do you know what I mean? When he was doing all this bullshit, whatever he was doing then we've got what happened in Elimination Chamber.
But I'll say this again. After WrestleMania 40, what did everybody want? It was either Rock versus Roman or Rock versus Cody for the next WrestleMania. That's all you wanted. You're not gonna get that. You wasn't gonna get that. Again, I'm a realist. And again, like I said, if you don't get your booking, you're not gonna like it.
It could have been done a bit more better, in my opinion. But cold-blooded. We said at the same time. He says there is a serious lack of adrenaline in my soul lately. And you know who he's referring to. And
he'll get it back once the Money in the Bank comes along. And Cody gets the briefcase.
Zane Vicious also thinks it will backfire.
Hey, we will see.
And of course, unrealistic Cliff Burton says if Cody gets the briefcase, sorry about that, give Scott a receipt. Got to be payoff down the road.
He already gave Scott the receipt at the Crossroads.
There's also rumor that there could be a tag match down the line between Cena and Travis Scott versus Cody and whoever. Could be like do you remember the Rodman Hogan versus, or was it DDP? Sorry, and Karl Malone versus oh my God, how did I go?
Hogan Rodman against DDP and Karl Malone.
Oh yeah, and DDP and Karl Malone. That's it. Yeah, I mean there was that. Could we get something like that again?
You could, but I don't know if Travis Scott can wrestle like Karl Malone. He might wrestle like Jay Leno at Hog Wild. That was the bad one. We don't know the commitment that Travis Scott has, training at the Performance Center, and we don't know what kind of stylistics that Travis Scott will do. So that's why I take it with a grain of salt with that. But yes, I do see a tag team match down the line.
He seems motivated. He seems like he wants to do it.
There you go. See, Travis Scott and Cena against Cody Rhodes and Westside Gun, because he said he felt bad about the $50,000 he spent. Give Westside Gun his receipt. That's what it is.
Oh, let's be real. 50 G's is a lot of money to go to Mania. I don't care how much money you've got.
Dude, he's rich, man. If you're going to spend it.
I get that.
Look, you and I, if we take out a mortgage on our house, go to WrestleMania, and you feel pissed off about the booking, God bless you. I'm not even going to say you're wrong. You have every right to be mad. You have You have every right to be mad. You have every right to be mad.
I heard fans did put friggin' shit on their houses to go to Mania, dude. Like remortgage their houses. I've heard that more than once.
But I don't feel sorry for Westside Gun. I feel sorry for mom and pop who took a mortgage on their house or who maxed out their credit cards for their kids. If you feel like the booking was bad, I'm never gonna say you're wrong, even though I will say it. But you're.
Well, look at Zane saying Travis Scott will be like Pac-Man Jones. No way. Pac-Man Jones.
Well, at least that makes the match decent, especially with Pac-Man Jones and R-Truth when they were tag team champs. Oh no, was it
in TNA? In TNA, yeah, they weren't tag champs, but in TNA, yeah. I can't remember. I know Pac-Man did win a championship, didn't he? Though
TNA tag team title.
I remember. It was the tag belts, right? Okay. Yeah, man. Pac-Man Jones was good, man.
Yeah. But again, we don't know what kind of Travis Scott wrestler we're gonna get. We're gonna get a Pac-Man Jones, we're gonna get a Karl Malone, or we're gonna get Jay Leno. That's what I'm just saying. I'm trying to be realistic here and warning all Haminites what you're expecting ring-wise from Travis Scott.
Oh boy. Well, he doesn't. He has no finish.
If you get Karl Malone, you're gonna get at least a good move. He'll do an attitude adjustment. He might do an STFU. But if you get a Jay Leno doing an armbar or Hulk Hogan on Cody Rhodes, then y'all gonna be like, oh God, this is bad. This is WCW bad.
Well, anyway, we'll see what happens with that. But that leads me also to another segue, which sort of, it's on the same subject. But how do you feel about this new show coming soon on Netflix called Unreal?
Again, it depends. It depends on your fandom, Jimmy. Again, I don't watch every WWE show. I don't watch Evolve. I won't watch Unreal because I don't care about it. It's the same thing like 25 years ago when WWE moved from USA Network to TNN when they got the $100 million deal. TNN gave them a platform to produce other shows. What was that other show? Confidential. Peeling the curtain back.
I like that though.
But I'm just giving you an example that if you wanted to watch it, that was your choice to, on Saturday, maybe I think it was either 11 p.m. or 12 midnight. If you chose to want to watch more WWE content, it's oversaturation, Jimmy. That's what it is. You and I are the same. We like Confidential. I like the behind the scenes shit. Unreal, again, 2000 Professor wanting to see behind the scenes shit, and 2025 Professor wanting to see Unreal. Nah, ain't the same. I just know too much, or I just, again, it doesn't engage the Professor because I got enough of dirt sheet news. I got enough of people on Twitter trying to break news right now, and the Haminites probably already has in the chat breaking news if they want to show it on the chat. So what are you going to give me on Unreal that I don't already either know or have some kind of, inkling about? It's not.
I agree.
And I'll say this is just part of the Netflix deal. It's not going to last more than 2 seasons. It'll get canceled. And then either an AEW fan troll will say, oh, they couldn't even make it after 2 seasons.
100%.
They weren't even expecting to make. This is not going to be a tradition. I don't expect a 20-year Unreal season tradition on Netflix. I expect maybe 2 seasons the most. If they make it to 2 seasons, it will be a miracle. 1 season, that's enough for the Professor.
I agree 100%. But then again, I feel like I'm not worried about fans like us, obviously, because like you just said, we know all the ins and outs. Same with our listeners. Like, our type of fandom is completely different, obviously. I'm more worried when the casuals or those idiots that love bashing pro wrestling saying, see, there you go, it's fake, 100% fake. We told you so. I know kayfabe is dead. You don't think so?
Yeah. But they won't watch it. It's not interesting.
Because it will ruin it for fans like that, dude, I feel. For new fans.
I'll tell you one thing. Remember that YouTube last year of The Rock, Triple H, and Cody, how they pivoted and all that stuff?
Right, yes.
Who was watching it? It wasn't casuals. It was us.
I enjoyed that, mind you.
But again, it's the same. That's Unreal. But it was Unreal for that situation. I don't need... One subject is fine, but now you want a whole season of Unreal for certain different parameters, or how we got to Jey Uso versus Gunther, or how we pivot from one storyline to another. It's not that interesting to a casual. They won't get the lingo. They won't get why we're interested in it. It's not going to last.
I hope you're right, man, because I don't want it to last, man. I think it's too much, too soon, and just too fast, dude. Like, just too much of this kayfabe bullshit. You wonder why wrestlers aren't getting over.
If Netflix gives you $5 billion and says, give me some content for Netflix, you damn well I'm going to give you something. I'm going to do WWE in your house again. Or what was that? When the old guys were doing that reality show in your house or something like that.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah.
With the Fink and all that, Pat Patterson.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Something like that. It was something like in your house. The logo was the same, actually, as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot what it's called. But it was on the WWE network. I enjoyed that. That was good. That was funny as well.
But that was for us. And that was what it is. Netflix is only going to give you so much content for Netflix itself. So it has to be interesting. Not WWE Network stuff. It's just because what is the WWE Network? From what they were, let's say, from 2015 to what they're now, being under the Peacock umbrella, 10 years ago, they were more, they tried a lot of things. They experimented with shows. They had that In Your House type of show. They had the Edge and Christian show. Of course, you had, Legends House. Thank you, Cold-Blooded. Thank you.
Cold-Blooded. Thanks, bro.
But they had that. They had Legends House. They had Edge and Christian 10 years ago. They were able to experiment themselves. They don't want to do that anymore. They just want the money.
Even that cartoon that they were doing, which was based on real shit.
Yeah, WWE camp and stuff like that. But again, you get what they were willing to experiment, but they didn't want to waste their budget because they were the ones losing money. That's why Peacock gave you, $1 billion. Netflix gives you $5 billion. They're just saying create some content, but pay me first. I'll create the content. That's why you got Unreal. That's why you got these 24/7 documentaries, and they kind of just steered it that way, sports centric, reality-based centric and that stuff. But 10 years ago, they were just trying anything they could for you to pay $10 a month for the subscription themselves, which I did. Right. And it wasn't because of that. It was because of NXT. That's why I subscribed to the network. So it was a different thing.
That's a good point. That's a great point. Let's get into the roast of WrestleMania, shall we, Prof? Because I've seen some footage. I don't know if you've seen it, but I know WWE's been absolutely extreme when it comes to like getting like copyright shit up on the internet. So anyone that uploads it, they're striking motherfuckers down. But people have been trying to like, upload it and whatnot. And did you hear some of these jokes?
I heard some things about Nia Jax going a little bit with Flair.
Dude, she destroyed Charlotte Flair, bro. Absolutely destroyed. This whole Reddit friggin' forums like about this shit. But she absolutely destroyed Charlotte.
Let me just say this, and then you can read off the jokes if you want. But this is an example. No, it is bad, but this is again another example of something I didn't care about. Just like Unreal, I just didn't care about. But what is WWE trying to do? This is the experimenting they're doing under the TKO umbrella. Again, this is an experiment of using what's going on YouTube because what is it? Tony Hutcliffe does a show about roasting, but that's with comics. That's with professional comics doing the roasting of each other. It's the dozens. It's dissing each other and all that stuff. Now you're trying to take that element and then put it in the kayfabe kind of stylistics, if you will. I mean, with wrestlers trying to joke on each other, and then again, it turns into the work shoot. Is it real? Is it personal? Oh my God! And all that a roast like that doesn't make sense. It doesn't fly. Again, you know what you could have done instead of the roast? Probably could have done the Hall of Fame there because you could have ended everything right with that. WrestleMania is over. You didn't need to do the roast 2 hours later. You could have just done the fucking Hall of Fame right there and then ended it on a grand scale like that. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I find it weird that they will even do a roast. But knowing pro wrestlers, Prof, they all got egos, bro. And having something like this would so deflate their egos. I don't care if it's a work, shoot, work, shoot, whatever, right? That doesn't bother me. For a fact, some of these wrestlers would have taken this shit personally.
Dude, we see roasts daily on Twitter. I mean, from our favorite Vince Russo and Jimmy Cornette roasting each other for how many years on Twitter? It's a roast. It's
got a bit too serious, though.
Right. It's a roast. They roast each other. You see Joey Janela roasting everybody. You see all this shit on Twitter. It's a roast. It technically is a roast. This is supposedly a controlled environment WWE roast. It just doesn't work for me. And it didn't work for you. It doesn't work for the Hami Knights. But it's an experiment. Las Vegas gave them a ton of money to do it. They gave them a ton of money to fill up the Fontainebleau Theater, wherever that was, and they had to do it. That's the thing. You have to answer to your masters, Jimmy. It is what it is. Just like that WrestleMania 9 documentary, that was great. But if you notice, they had to answer to their masters at the Caesars Palace because they wanted Hulk Hogan somehow, some way on the bill, and it just worked out that way. Whether it was planned or not, Hulk Hogan, they wanted Hulk Hogan, they got Hulk Hogan. And then one of those, the former owner of the Caesars Palace, Hami Knights, he said, so when is Hulk Hogan going to win the title?
Right.
Was that manipulated? I don't know.
That wasn't planned on WWE's end. I guarantee it. That was totally Caesar's Palace.
Again, you and I can make these conspiracy theories right there. But if Caesar's Palace, if the board of directors says, we will give you X amount of money, but only on the condition Hulk Hogan had to win the title that night. They found a way, though. They did. So again, with the roast, WWE obliged the Fontainebleau. They gave him the roast. They might not like the end result. I'm sure of it because they are a publicly traded company. TKO does not like that kind of publicity. But again, they serve their masters at Las Vegas. Will they do that for New Orleans? I'm 90% sure they won't do it because there's no reason.
No chance.
Right.
What?
But I'm not.
There's
But I'll
not
give
so
that.
happy.
I'll give that 10% if they want to do. If they want to, like, controversies creates cash, like Bischoff would say.
Fair point. That's true, as Bischoff said. But some of these jokes, I don't even know if I want to read all of them, but they're horrendous, dude. Like,
Just keep it with Naya, because that's the one that actually makes more of the sense.
okay. So Charlotte Flair appeared to be the main source of attack, as there were several jokes made regarding her divorce and plastic surgeries. Now, I don't have them exactly word for word, but I'm going to read sort of the Naya parts, and I don't even have them word for word, but there was a joke about the Elegant Stadium being so big. Oh, God. Being so big and black, right? That Hulk Hogan wouldn't let his daughter anywhere near the stadium. That was so dumb.
Wait, Nia Jax said that?
Apparently,
Oh, God.
allegedly,
Okay.
that's pretty bad.
That is bad.
That is really bad.
I know. I think Paul Heyman was ribbing on illegal immigration, which I remember.
He was. I heard that audio. That was funny as hell, dude. That was fucking funny.
If you can take a joke, again, we are in this politically correct, tribalistic sensitivity age. So some people will say it's a little bit too personal about that. But again, we're wrestling fans. It's the wrestling community. But remember, the black joke with Nia Jax and Hulk Hogan, doesn't fly with us. But then the illegal immigration does. Again, you got to pick your poison. I get that, but I'll be fair. It's equally stupid and it's equally bad taste. It is what it is.
Yeah,
I'm not offended by it, but it's equally bad taste, though.
FYI, Zane, they didn't mention the N-word at all. All right, I know where he's going with this, by the way. So as far as I know, that didn't get mentioned. But
Nia Jax can get away with this. She's Samoan. She hood.
Yeah, but even them, they're technically not allowed to use it, though, dude. They're not technically black.
West Coast Samoans, they do say it. I'm sorry.
I know they say it. Even my Samoan friends that I've got, they all say it. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a fact. But I also know black people that don't like him saying it, though, too. You know what I mean? So I guess it's subjective.
Very subjective.
Anyway, back to those stupid jokes. Someone said about Nia Jax is into BDSM, right? Her safety words are down, set, hut.
Did Charlotte say that? Did Charlotte say that?
It doesn't say who said it. It does not say who said it.
Oh, probably the host, Tony Hutcliffe, might have said that.
They also gone on and said, I said Nia Jax's name 3 times and my crock pot came on.
Oh, God.
God, how stupid is that? Anyway.
If people don't like Nia Jax's thickness, I'm sorry for y'all.
Wait,
but
this one's a doozy. This one's a doozy, actually, Prof. It's 420, a day of celebration for pot smokers and Christians, right? Keep that in mind because of Easter. It's also Hitler's birthday, so it's probably a celebration for Gunther as well. That's so bad. That's funny, though, too.
Again, it's bad taste. But again, it's funny, Wrestling fans, certain wrestling fans just don't care. It's just it flies off. But again, there's sensitive. I don't want to say there's sensitive people, but there's people that would just they'll take it to that level, and I respect it. But like I said, it just doesn't. I understand why they did what they did for the roast. Again, they served their masters in Las Vegas, but again, it's an experiment that went bad. I don't think they're going to do it next year. It's not going to be a tradition.
Just wait. There's more though, because there's one that's about Nakamura, right? It says, I wanted Nakamura to appear at the roast, but a tariff got put on his booking.
That's funny.
So,
even though he's not Chinese, he's from Kyoto, Japan. That's what it's billed at.
It's just fucking ridiculous. Some of this shit is ridiculous though, but that deserves one of these ones. It gets a chime. And also, last but not least, it says, Tony says, I don't know why it says this, but Tony says he wanted Del Rio at the roast, but WWE had yet to turn the page. Get it?
Oh God.
That is so dumb.
And
Why
then,
would they say that shit?
and then WWE, and then WWE released Alberto Del Rio. So go figure.
That's another one. Is it true that he got released now as the Triple A champion?
Hey man, just do the dates. Once they bought it, Alberto Del Rio's days were numbered. He even knew that shit. It's like, oh God, I gotta take independent bookings again.
Oh boy. And just quietly, there's more where that came from, but I'm not going to read all of them. Like, yeah, there's quite a few. But just go check it on Reddit. It's kind of funny, but that Gunther joke though, man, Jesus Christ. And the Allergy Stadium one, but anyway, or Allegan Stadium, whatever it's called. It looks like it says all giant on it, like if you look at it. But anyway, why do you want me to hit the chime for, Zane? Just for you? Should I do it just for him, Prof?
It's your show, Jimmy. Go ahead.
There you go, Zane. Fuck, just for you. Anyway, let's move on from that, shall we?
Know, when you hear the chime, he's like picturing you on a bed of clouds throwing up roses. So it might be a little bit of a fetish right now going on. I'm again.
Hey, whoa.
Might be a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy theory.
That was a record scratch right there, dude. Come on now. But in saying that, let's move on because there's more news. I want your opinion on Lex Luger absolutely doing what he did back in '95. Pretty much a handshake agreement, took off to Nitro instead of being with WWE. Well, he kind of did the same thing, gets inducted at the Hall of Fame, thanks to WWE, and then doesn't show up at Mania because he went to the WrestleCade thing that was happening. I can't remember what city it was happening or if it was in Vegas. I'm pretty sure it was still in Vegas, wasn't it?
The WrestleCon autographs? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the WrestleCade Con, whatever it's freaking called.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
But he said that no, he said he fell and he hurt himself. So he couldn't
but he turns up to that other event. If you were truly hurt, you wouldn't be turning up. He wanted another payday, dude.
Well, again, do you want to go on that stage for a couple of minutes? I think he wanted to stand, which he couldn't, because again, that's a little bit too much to ask for a man that's confined to a wheelchair. He can only stand up for so long, especially if you fall. So again, what they want him to do backstage. Remember, Jimmy, there's a little bit of a commitment you got to do for the documentaries, for behind the scenes, for pressers and stuff like that. So maybe he just didn't have let's say the pain tolerance, if you will, to do all that stuff for that situation. Again, I understand the autograph signing, but he can control the autograph signing. He can stop. He could go maybe it was close to his hotel where he can recuperate. He can recharge his batteries and then come back and then all that stuff. So again, he could, he has to control the situation for himself, being confined to a wheelchair. So it is what it is on my end. I'm not going to take it as personal for Lex Luger. He got what he wanted. He got the Hall of Fame induction. He got a chance to stand up and do his speech.
Our very own Scotty the Body Woodford says he didn't have the energy, apparently. Well, then he shouldn't have turned up at the other event if he didn't have the energy. I'm just saying. That's just my opinion. I get it. He's in a wheelchair. I know. But I don't know, man. I just feel like he wanted another
again, it's more about what you're asked to do, Jimmy. You got to understand that. Remember, the Hall of Fame, he stood up, and then he's got to do behind the scenes stuff. And then remember, the Hall of Fame was late Las Vegas time too.
Oh like my God, dude.
That was like what, 10 p.m. Las Vegas time to like 1 a.m. and all that stuff. So,
I think it started at 10 p.m. right. And then it ended in the early morning hours. Dude, it was late here when it ended. All right, it's starting to get late.
But you're asking a man in a wheelchair to do a lot of stuff that's going to take a lot of energy out of you. And then the commitment he has. So he couldn't do what he had to do. I wish he was there to take his rightful place on that stage. But again, maybe there's certain things they wanted him to do with pressers, documentaries and stuff like that. And he just did not have the energy to do it. So autograph signing, maybe it's close to his hotel. That's why I'm saying. I'm not saying that's the right thing, but I'm just saying it's a controlled environment that he can do. I got to take a break. Give me like 2 hours. Let me go back to my hotel, rest up on my bed, and then I'll go back and then do my autograph signing. It's a different animal, if you will, Jimmy, between WWE and WrestleCon. It's
I
night and
get
day.
that. But if WWE knew he was going to do that, I personally think they would have done the Hall of Fame introduction.
They got him where they needed him the most, and that was the Hall of Fame. That was it to me.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. I wonder if so you think he won't catch heat for that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, interesting. We'll find out. It's just like they thought The Rock was going to be there. Did you see the T-shirt I was selling, by the way, with The Rock?
What about him?
Finally, The Rock has come back to Las Vegas, but it was nowhere to be found.
Again. No, when he did the Pat McAfee show, he wasn't in Las Vegas.
That's my point.
Yeah.
But they were selling those shirts like WWE were expecting him to be in Vegas and didn't turn up.
But what are they? They are greedy bastards that want your money. I'm not faulting it, but if you buy a shirt for again, they gotta make their money.
Also, though, I wanted to point out about that. The Elimination Chamber didn't need to sell extra tickets because it was going bad. That was pretty much doing fine without The Rock, just quietly. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Well, again, it depends on how I heard how The Rock spinned it. He learned from the best. He learned from Hulk Hogan to spin it.
Yeah, he's becoming Hogan, bro.
To spin it to his
really
control.
Is.
But again, you and I
That's
did
not a
the
good
research.
thing.
No, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying, but now when Hogan did it, it made people mad. But now everybody's doing it. Hogan was the pioneer of lying, but now wrestlers lie for it to us. So I'm not mad that Rock kept the kayfabe with his line. He said, they needed a ticket boost, and I gave them the boost that they needed.
Sure, Dwayne.
It's not totally a lie. But
no, of course not.
But tickets jumped a little bit every day after you heard the announcement that The Rock was going to be there. So he's telling half the truth.
Oh boy, man. Well, I think it's time we get into SmackDown, shall we? Because that was the news. We spent a good hour talking about this. And then believe me, we can go even longer talking about all this stuff. But, man, it is the Friday night after SmackDown, after WrestleMania. They like to call this the SmackDown after Mania. Before I get into all the stuff, did it feel like that to you? Did it feel like a SmackDown after Mania, in your opinion?
It hasn't felt like a after Mania in about 8 years. So I'm just being honest. It's not the same way.
SmackDown and Raw as well? Are you saying Raw feels the same way?
Raw was better for the first time.
Raw felt like the Raw after Mania for the first time in a long time.
But it hasn't felt like that when the fans, all come together at an arena, and quote unquote hijack the show with the comments and the chanting and stuff like that. The best one was 2013 in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and Fandango became a household name. But again, we don't get that kind of feeling anymore. And then one of the Raw after Manias with Roman Reigns not speaking for 8 minutes, and then all he said was, "It's my yard." But again, they hijacked the show and they gave him that time to do that. We didn't.
But that was great of him doing that. Actually,
right.
I actually liked that.
But we haven't had that feeling in years. And again, I think Vince was like, let's just keep it. Let's keep it, with the flow of the show. Let's keep it going with the storylines that we have to do and all that stuff. So Vince McMahon wanted to sway it away, but then Triple H is trying to bring it back. And again, it's going to take another year for Triple H to get 100% everything back, maybe the way he wanted it. So again, Raw after Mania was okay. SmackDown after Mania, it's a work in progress.
I guess it is a work in progress. But anyway, let's get into SmackDown, though, because we start off with, of course, John Cena, who got a pretty huge pop, dude. Not surprisingly, but surprisingly in some ways. I felt like, the crowd just roared for Cena, and then they started, of course, doing their, John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks.
John Cena has told you and told everybody it's a toxic relationship. This is abuse. They've been abusing John Cena for 25 years.
I wouldn't say he's lying. He's lying.
I know,
from 2005, actually.
It's 20 years, but again, he's right. WWE manipulates history too. We know this. Again, I compartmentalize lies. That's what it is.
That's funny though. But anyway, yeah. So he comes out. He's he's pretty much saying a lot of the same stuff. Is he not? He's going to ruin pro wrestling still. He's going to be the last real world champion. I don't want to go word for word because I'll be here forever. But he's essentially saying that, he's going, like you said, he's going to ruin pro wrestling. He's going to take the belt home. And because of that, basically, WWE have to make a whole new world championship. Why do they have to? No, they don't. That doesn't make sense to me that he says that.
The symbolism from John Cena's perspective is...
I get what he means, but it doesn't work for me, brother.
No. It actually does work storyline-wise because he's taking the belt, which is that rich history that started from Bruno Sammartino and Buddy Rogers, all that.
Right.
He takes it, and then you got to start from scratch. So that's why it was very keen the way he said the thing to Randy Orton, because Randy Orton says, I want 15, but he's saying, no, I'm taking it with me. So then when I'm gone, you're not going to be number 15. You're going to be number 1 with a new belt and a new legacy. Again, that's to get the GOAT of Randy Orton, but it's something simple. It's so simplistic. It makes all the sense in the world.
I guess it does, but I don't buy by him. All they have to do is make another belt and say he's not in void. It's like saying CM Punk is still the real AEW World Champion, is he not?
Yes, he never lost it.
Exactly. So does that mean 5 years get wiped out in AEW? 5-6 years, whatever it is?
Ask Tony Khan about that. If he respects the history, if he respects the legacy and the history of the AEW World Championship, to not acknowledge that CM Punk never lost the title the second time.
Oh, shit. Before we move on, I have to thank Scotty Woodford. I didn't mean that. I was a trombone going off too. But for the $4.99 super sticker saying, John Cena, not my champ, and he never hold the 10 pounds of gold, so he's Cena. He's wrong. That's the real world champion. Remember Ric Flair when he debuted in WWE or WWF at the time? The real world's champion, and they were blurring it out.
And let's not forget, again, with the history manipulation, Cena supposedly has the record. No, but again, Ric Flair will tell you, no, I'm a 21 or 22 time world heavyweight champion. Ric Flair will remind everybody, no, you ain't taking my legacy away from me. But again, for storyline purposes, we got to take it away from you.
Why don't they give it to Flair? Because that's true. I mean, he said that for years that he's actually more than 16-time world champion.
No, you want to do it right. You make Ric Flair go on AEW and beat Jon Moxley and become a 17-time champion, and then he can say, "I'm tied, Cena. We are tied. You don't have the right. I'm tied with you."
There's freaking rumors of that happening possibly.
No, that's just people just wishing. See, this is trolling. It's the beauty of trolling. But again, if we get that booking, it's funny to you and I, but yet that's a ratings dip. That's a ratings killer, all that stuff. That's the business side of the professor thinking about that. But for us, that'd be funny shit. Dynamite would be funny to see Ric Flair beat Jon Moxley for the title and become a 17-time champion.
It would work. It's just
funny with us.
I mean, if Tony's got the balls, go ahead and do it, man. But anyway,
I hope he does.
Part of me actually hopes he does too. But Zane says it right here in the chat saying, Flair 23 up, he should have showed up to stop Cena. Imagine that. God damn.
He could have thwarted Travis Scott with the chops and stuff like that. It would have worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would have been the compromise. That would have been the compromise.
100%. But anyway, we get Orton coming into the ring after that, and it feels like Bizarro Land, as he said, because even I was pointing out, it's funny because most of his career, Orton's been nothing but a heel pretty much, and here he is trying to talk reason to one John Cena.
I think he's seen the light, just like he said. He saw the light because he has kids, he has a family.
Oh, this is the best.
He has a new perspective on life, and of course, remember, long-term booking. He was out for 18 months. He was out from doing what he loved to do not once but twice, because a couple of months, because Kevin Owens took away his love of professional wrestling with the pile driver and all that stuff. So he has an appreciation for life. He has an appreciation for wrestling and all that stuff. And now he's trying to convince John again. We're recycling and rehashing the same thing. What is this? This John Cena run is all about bringing the old John Cena back, and who's gonna convince him to come back to the light, to the white light, if you will. That's what it is. Cody couldn't do it, and now it's Randy Orton's turn to try. But of course, Randy Orton wants that world title too. He ain't pulling no punches.
And you know what they do? They will end up having their match in St. Louis for Backlash, but he won't win anyway. But anyway, I love when he said you need to have kids to Cena. Everyone knows that Cena doesn't want actual kids. But it was gold when he said, yeah, because I've been taking care of all your kids for the last 25 years. And one kid was giving him the bird. And I like how he kept going back to that one kid, telling him off, which was kind of funny. But you know what? He destroyed Orton with that comeback, I felt. That was hilarious. I wasn't even mad at this. It was more funny than anything else, than derogatory, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. But it goes to the storyline of what John Cena is trying to do, and then what everybody who's going to face John Cena is trying to do, and that's bring the old John Cena back, which until he will come back, but that's at the end of the year. But not right now, because he's still hurt. It's still toxic. It eats at John Cena's soul that people just say he sucks for everything that he's done. He's raised your kids. He's told them not to hate. He's told them to, hustle, loyalty, and respect. He's lived the mantra of positivity. And now, because of The Rock, let's not forget, because of what The Rock's truth bombs to John Cena, he opened his eyes to that, and he can't let that go. It's too personal for him.
It's way too personal for him, apparently. Do you think what's it called? Do you think Randy Orton's got any chance of getting that world championship come Backlash?
It will depend on how long they want this story to play out during the summer. Because again, you and I know that we want to see Cena against Punk. We want to see Cena maybe versus, choose your poison of who you want Cena to fight for this year. Right. But again, we're overbooking it. It's just got to make sense, because the next person after Orton has got to be Punk. So, you think that's so? Just my that quick. I don't know if it's gonna. Well, again, John Cena on Monday told you he had 35 dates left. You better make them count. That's what it is. That's true. You better make these dates count. So whoever he's facing, make it count and make it mean something. So if it's once Orton's out the pasture, then it's Punk. Once Punk is out the pasture, then pick your poison with other people. And of course, Cody Rhodes has got to get his rematch, because he didn't get a rematch yet. That's true. Unless he just goes the Money in the Bank, gets a briefcase, and the rest is history. But we'll see. Zane says Punky's on Raw. So what? That doesn't mean anything. Haven't you noticed everyone's jumping back and forth between Raw and SmackDown anyway? I don't even consider this. Let's not forget and then they'll do a draft to make it all make sense.
Right.
Exactly. That's my answer to that.
That's how they'll do it anyway. They'll do a draft, as you said, Prof. And then it'll make sense, because someone will jump either to SmackDown or send it to Raw, and that's how we get the match. But anyway, so yeah, that was that. They booked the match for Backlash. Orton, actually, funny enough, Cena does get the best of Orton. At least he did it to his face, not from behind like we saw on Raw with the RKO out of nowhere. He throws the belt at Randy Orton. He catches it like a chump, and then he gets a few shots from Cena. But in the end, Orton does give him the RKO, and then, Backlash it is.
Yeah,
Are you looking forward to it at least?
Yeah, of course. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the GOAT fighting. Remember, this is the last year. You got to appreciate every TV appearance that John Cena does, because the next time we won't see John Cena will be on Peacemaker. So you gotta appreciate the times you see John Cena on TV.
I guess, man, and I do enjoy it, actually, as a matter of fact, that he's back. It makes the show somewhat better, but anyway.
I'll be right back, Jimmy. Just give me 1 second, all right?
No problem, dude. Do what you have to do. But anyway, so there's that for Backlash. So we move on. to the very first sort of segment in the back as we see Carmelo or Mello talk about the Andre the Giant Battle Royal in the memory of Andre the Giant. But anyway, we see Kodak brawling to start as Carlito. Sorry, no, wait, I got to go back a bit because where was I? What the hell's this? Because I'm kind of stuffing up my notes over here. I got the wrong notes up. God damn it. But anyway, let me just get the right friggin' notes for a moment.
Oh, we don't have to go. We don't have to go in order, Jimmy. Don't worry about it.
No,
Whatever
I can't believe I friggin' lost my notes. Friggin' disappeared, man. But what was the first match again of the night?
What was the first match of the night, or what was the segment after?
I'm pretty sure there was a segment right after that, but I've forgotten already.
Because I think what was it? Wasn't Tiffy time wanted to celebrate her things too? We could talk about that.
Oh yeah, we saw her walking in, but that wasn't the first thing, I don't think, dude. As a matter of fact.
Oh no, it was the debut of Fraxium. That's what it was. The Fraxium against Legado del Phantasm.
Oh man, speaking of that, did you notice Orton as he was walking back, he gave him a hand slap. They shouldn't show that on TV, in my opinion, but that's just me.
See, you're in the literal. You keep seeing.
I know. I can't help it.
I'm trying to tell you to compartmentalize certain things. Why can't Orton just high five, Garza and stuff like that? As long as he was thinking the camera was not going to be on him. That's what it is. Sometimes it happens. Kevin Dunn would have made sure that wouldn't have happened, but Kevin Dunn is not employed with WWE, so it is what it is.
Thank God. But anyway, the Fraxium does defeat the Los Garzas. I call them Los Lethargicos, if you get my drift. And I guess Fraxium now are part of the SmackDown roster, right?
Yeah, they're going to inject the tag team scene that's so desperately needed. So hopefully, because there was nothing for Fraxium to do in NXT anymore, but that doesn't mean Fraxium is not going to make a NXT appearance here and there to give the rub to, up and comers in NXT at the Performance Center. So, but Fraxium, they had nothing left at NXT, a nice debut. And of course, we'll see them fight the Motor City Machine Guns, fight, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, and fight the Street Profits in a couple of months.
Yeah, well, it will be interesting, and we'll get to that match. But that match was a good match, man. Was it match of the night? I'm not sure yet, in a way, if it was the main event or this.
Hell no.
It was a good
showing. It wasn't
the match.
I don't think so. It was a good showing, but it wasn't a match of the night. Let's be real. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. Well, after the break, we see Tiffany Stratton come to the ring to celebrate her win over Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 41. It didn't take long for Jade Cargill to interrupt her, though. She said beating Charlotte only put a bigger target on Tiffy's back, and now that she is done with Naomi, she wants a shot at the WWE Women's title. They ended up agreeing to have a match right away, so a ref comes down, and it got started after the break. Cargill had a slight size and power advantage. I'll say a bit more than slight, but
Jimmy,
but still,
one second. I just have to jump in for a second here because
a
lot of people within the community was going to say, why are you going to throw this random match on a Friday after Mania? Jay Cargill, there's no build-up, there's no story.
No, that didn't bother me.
No, but again, this is what you hear. It's what you see on Twitter. I'm just acknowledging why people complain just to complain. But again, you have to have building blocks. This is like you said, this is the SmackDown after WrestleMania. So now Jay Cargill, she said, and I quote, Naomi's on the back burner. She's on the back radar and all that stuff. I'm done with her. But again, that story's not finished. And you'll talk about that during your notes. But that story's not finished. And again, you got extra incentive to add Bianca to that story if Triple H chooses to. But again, you got to have that feeder. We want to see if Jay can handle a singles match on her own. And again, Tiffy time is good. To have a good match with her and all that stuff. So I had no problem with, throwing this match together because I knew the results. I knew what the results was going to be. But of course, you just have to see if people will resonate to this match, which I think they did.
No, absolutely did. No, for sure, man. It was a decent match until unfortunately, as you said, Naomi does come into it and he does the beatdown on Jade. Is Naomi going overboard now with being a heel? Is she putting too much expressions, if you know what I mean? I think she needs to relax on the expressions a bit because it almost comes across she's trying to play bad, and I don't buy it, like, if that makes any sense.
It makes sense the way you're trying to describe it, but character-wise, Naomi feels that Jade took her best friend away from her. So
I get it, but it's like obsession for crying out loud.
But the obsession, the psychopath Naomi, the only thing that she sees is red. If Jade's in the ring, I got to take Jade Cargill out by any means necessary because you took my best friend away. But again, like I said, the swerve could happen where Naomi will say, Bianca told me to take you out. And then we could build on something like that. I'm overbooking it, Jimmy. I hear, again, if I don't get what I want, Jimmy, I'm not going to get mad at them, but I'm just giving you an option, which people I think are still saying is in the back burner for Triple H to use, maybe for SummerSlam purposes, maybe for Survivor Series purposes, that Bianca will turn heel too, because you heard the boos for the last couple of weeks also. So you could use that too.
Absolutely, man.
You can still use that. But
and they better use that.
And of course, Naomi is embracing the psychotic character in her and then being crazy. You saw those punches. They were not punches. They were like, ah. What was she hitting? She wasn't hitting nothing. She was hitting Jade's breast all the time. That's the way it looked to me. She was just hitting the breast.
You're right. You're right, man. It looked kind of whack.
She was doing titty punches. Chad, am I wrong? She was doing titty punches.
Time. Oh, shit. Well, funny enough, as Naomi was rushing the ring and causing the disqualification in favor of Jade, Naomi then backs off from Stratton, and that's when we get a big return to call back to this feud, actually, from months ago, Prof, in your girl, Nia Jax. And a beatdown left the champ laid out and Jax draping the title over her lifeless body. But I'm kind of cool with this, man. I'm a fan of Nia, just quietly.
Again, people will complain. I heard people complaining why Nia Jax is back. Get Nia Jax off my TV. I'm going to school a lot of people who just doesn't like this situation. There's 12 months in a year. There's 12 pay-per-views in a year. So you could waste a backlash with Tiffy time against Nia Jax. You could waste one of those European tours with Tiffy against Nia Jax. Is it SummerSlam worthy, Jimmy? No, I'm realistic. Is it Survivor Series worthy? No, I'm being realistic. But you need a throwaway feud for Tiffy time to keep the legacy going. So if you want to rehash Nia Jax, of course, well, what about Meechin? What about B-Fab? Did you hear what I said? What about Meechin? What about B-Fab? Are you interested in that? No. At least Nia Jax, she just roasted Charlotte Flair and Cody Rhodes at the roast. You got to take the advantage right now. It's in the Jimmy. You was reading it. Nia Jax was the roaster, was the roast master.
Apparently.
Use it.
No, for sure. She obviously got rewarded.
Yeah, there you go.
So I mean, shit, she's back, man, and I'm not complaining.
She won the roast.
Not complaining.
You're right. She won the roast at Las Vegas. So what do you do when you win the roast? She chose a title shot with Tiffy time.
Zane says, why was Jade working heel? Because Naomi was the babyface. And not Naomi, Tiffy was the babyface. So even though Jade is a babyface too, but you know.
Yeah, Jade is a babyface, but she's an aggressive babyface. Right. So it doesn't look right that Jade would work babyface and Tiffy would work heel. Right. Tiffy's not doing that anymore. If the roles were reversed and it was Tiffy time being the underling to Nia Jax, we would see that. But the psychology didn't work that way.
Also, I want to welcome our very own in Cruz. Cruz, where have you been, bro? A bit late to the party, but that's all right. We just started the SmackDown review anyway. So anyway, Nia's back. I think did they make the match for these two at Backlash?
I think we're assuming it's going to be Backlash. It just makes the most sense. But again, the way Triple H does things for SmackDown, I wouldn't be surprised if we wait if this is going to be a match, the main event for SmackDown in 2 weeks too. So, take it with a grain of salt, Jaime Knights. It could be Backlash or it could be a main event in 2 weeks on SmackDown.
For sure. Next, we see Jacob Fatu as the new United States champion, but he's still running around with Solo Sikoa. They've teased tension between these two for a while now, but they're out together on this show, which is kind of interesting, Prof. But anyway, Sikoa then grabbed the microphone and talked about no one wanting Fatu in WWE, including his own family, because he was too dangerous, allegedly. It all changed thanks to Solo, though. I'm the one, and this is what Solo said, I'm the one that took him to the promised land. Jacob is here because of me. This is exactly what happens when you love your family. Jacob would not be standing here if it wasn't for, of course, Solo. But as he was about to say that, Fatu then cut him off right there, and he says, don't get it twisted. He said the title makes him a menace to society, and at the end of the day, you better get in where you fit. And he's all gas, no breaks with it. I can't help it. He just sounds so great, to be honest, Prof. He's so good on the mic. But anyway, he starts.
Jacob has got this natural charisma that Triple H has said. Just be yourself, let it out. And Jacob knows this is the WWE, so he's not gonna be the MLW Jacob Fatu, crazy and psychotic, and just that
was real. Great.
And I love that too. But of course, you got to hold that back because what did he do in MLW? He cursed a lot. You can't curse. Well, Netflix, you could curse a little bit.
I mean.
So he understands the mission. He understands where he is. So it just works that way. So again, what is it building? It is building with Jacob and Solo Sikoa. People wanted that at WrestleMania, but Triple H said, you know what? It's not worthy of a WrestleMania. I think Triple H was right on that. So you could do Backlash, you could do another throwaway, you could do a European tour and stuff like that. Maybe if you want to, wait for a Clash at the Castle in Paris, you could do that there if you want to, tell that story outright.
No, for sure. And Bruce says it best. I love this, the way he puts it. Jacob is a 90s rap video, for sure. 100%. He's very much NWA.
Oh, yeah,
if anything. Early 90s NWA.
No. But he's also 2000s BET Uncut, if people get that joke.
Nice. But anyway, yeah, so he continues in the ring, but then we get LA Knight showing up. He eventually shows up. He's still getting big pops, though, for now, Prof. But anyway, speaking of, though, Drew McIntyre was next to crash the party, though. He had plans on challenging John Cena for the WWE title, but Randy Orton jumped in the line, and he's starting to wonder about the whole nepotism thing, which is quite funny. But he also put Cena down as a lesser champion who has lost a step or two. So he wants to go after the best guy currently holding a title, and that would be, of course, Jacob Fatu. Knight stepped in to get annoyed about Drew. Drew Mack thinking he could hop the line. This, of course, led to GM Nick Aldis stepping in and putting together a proper top contenders match for later tonight. But yeah, and that's that. So, but of course, Fatu also lays out everybody, and he gets a huge pop, as he should, because like you said, he's got this natural charisma about him. You just can't hate him, dude. He's that good that you just doesn't matter if he's a heel because he's too cool. Like he's a cool heel, you know what I'm saying? So you can't hate on the guy, and he's realer than real on the mic too, dude. Like, and he's obviously if you know his story. He's been in and out of prison over the years too. So the guy is legit, man. He's legit.
Yeah, Jacob has paid his dues in real life. So,
absolutely.
What a great reward. And you can see on Twitter, anybody who's worked with Jacob or has been the highways and byways with Jacob, I forget who tweeted, like they congratulated Jacob for the win at WrestleMania. It's real to certain people in the business when someone is getting something good, something positive out of their wrestling career. So, I think people are pulling for Jacob to be successful in WWE. WWE sees something in Jacob. And again, he's very natural with what he's doing. The 90s rapper right now. He's very natural. And he understands where he is too.
Absolutely. And he understands who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes him great, man. And he's just, like you said, a natural. These Samoans, bro, the Fatus, the Anawahis, they're naturally good, bro. They're all pretty good, except for I know that they're not related, and I'm talking about the Tongans. Oh, I liked when Haku came out and thanked and congratulated him on Mania too, by the way.
Oh yeah, and jumped the rail and they said no one was gonna stop Haku, so that was some funny shit. He wasn't
I'm
supposed to do that.
surprised. He wasn't? No shit.
Oh. Did
Wow,
you see any press credentials?
Guy,
he didn't have press credentials. He wasn't supposed to do that,
true.
but you heard this, but they know the story of Haku. He'll beat anybody up, and he's in his 50s or 60s. People are still afraid of Haku.
Oh man, I'm afraid of him.
What is that?
Tongans are nutcases, bro.
What does that tell you? Don't fuck with him. They understand.
Let him go. Unlike Hakeem Olajuwon, if you know what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
In the college, I couldn't believe that, bro. That's sad, man. But anyway, that's for another show. But
urban legends. That's what it is. Urban legend.
Yeah, urban legend. All right. But yeah, so that was that. And like I said, I guess we look forward to the number one contenders match a bit later on. But what do we have next? This is a shocker, dude. For me, anyway. It's Chelsea Green versus Zelina Vega for the United States Women's not World Championship, but Championship. Hey, Wrestling Soup is in the house. By the way, I just got to acknowledge these guys. Haku has big hit energy. Absolutely does. I don't know if that's you, Mish. More than likely, it probably is Mish. But thank you for joining us, man. Really appreciate it. But yeah, Haku's the beast. I mean,
I haven't said it. Rest in peace, Kevin Castle, to the Soup guys.
Oh, dude.
Rest in peace from the Professor and the PW also.
Yeah, go and check out Wrestling Soup also if any of you haven't already by this stage. I mean, everyone knows Wrestling Soup. And yeah, I've already said it, but I'll say it again, man. But yeah, RIP to Kevin Castle. It's definitely not the same without him. I mean, dude, like I said, I was personally friends with him too, man. And I still can't believe it. I mean, even listening to Don Tony, like I still listen to the DT show every week. And, like Misha said on his shows too, I mean, the reason why he does, he got into podcasting is because of DT and KC, and it's the same with me, man. Kevin Castle's actually...
everybody owes a debt of gratitude to DT and KC on that. So
100%, man. I mean, Kevin Castle was my first guest on my show. My very first show, man. And to say I was shitting bricks is an understatement. Mm-hmm. But Mish, man, thank you once again for joining us. We really appreciate it. And as he said, he misses him all the time. I think you got listeners marking you out, though, man, because Zane is like, Mish, you bullshitting. It's him, dude. It's really him. But anyway, where were we?
You said you were surprised at the Chelsea Green, Zelina Vega.
Yes, the Zelina Vega match.
Why?
Dude, Zelina Vega, really? Like, when you think
No. But when I say why, it's like, look at what Chelsea Green has done in the last year. So maybe this is you got to lose that belt.
No, I get that.
And if she's going to go to the next level and be in the main event slot for the SmackDown Women's title, could you imagine Tiffy Time versus Chelsea Green and her service? Come on, it writes itself that it's gold. And again, two prissy women fighting for the title. I'm gonna get the baby oil. How many nights? Just get the baby oil ready. You're gonna love it. Jeez. That's what it is. But again, what else can she do with the U.S. Women's title? She's had a decent run. Do you want a Cody Rhodes year-long run with the U.S. Women's title? Again, give other people.
No, you're right.
But that belt is. I want to say it's regulated to the B-Fabs. It's regulated to the Meachins. It's regulated to the Zelina Vegas and the
That's
Piper
who should
Nevins.
be vying for it,
but
for sure.
They will. But that's what it is. But Chelsea Green is so much more. People wanted her to win that Money in the Bank, and she didn't. She now has done so much for that title, and now it's time to go to the next level. It's time. She's graduated. She's graduated. She's put in the work. She needs that at least main event run. Again, it's not going to be Backlash, but again, she's got to get that title shot down the road, and you see it.
If we're going that way, 100%. Oh, Mish, do me a favor. When you speak to Jeff Lippman next, give him a little slap from me. If you could do that.
Well, Jeff Lippman likes getting, but Jeff Lippman likes getting slapped. So you're not doing him. Yeah.
He loves it.
You're not doing him a disservice with slapping him.
I know, true. I mean, at least it's something. But anyway, yeah. Look, I'm happy for Zelina though. Thanks, Mish. By the way, I am happy for it. Don't get it twisted. I am, and But has she really earned it though? I feel like, it's kind of out of nowhere. That's all. I'm not saying that we needed a storyline because there was a bit of a storyline leading into it, but it was just lazy to me. We could have done a little bit more, but still, maybe I'm just complaining too much.
You're not complaining too much, but again, I could go conspiracy wise. I mean, who she married?
I know what
who she married. Who she married to? Again, how you make somebody happy? Again, you want to peel the curtain back? You want to make somebody happy? Somebody wins a title. Somebody comes back to the WWE. It just works out that way. It's so simple. True. You can understand that.
No, absolutely. I totally thought of that because next we do get the return of we get the Miz just talking trash, of course. I mean, doing the same old Miz thing. But before that, he did give he literally gave Mello a friggin' chain, an Andre the Giant memorial chain with his actual face on it. It looks funny. It's going to be funny now, him walking around with that. So that was cool.
If MJF for the last 5 years could walk with a diamond ring that he owns, then Carmelo Hayes can win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal for 5 years in a row carrying that chain, and you can take away that dumbass trophy and just replace it with a chain.
I agree, man. I think the chain should be the new trophy for sure. But Mish says in the chat, I'll come back, just give my wife some jewelry. That's probably part of the deal for sure. It wouldn't surprise me, no doubt about it. But Zayn thinks that the Miz was actually telling the truth, though. I mean, he was. I mean, he puts everyone over, does he not? That's what he does. That's what he says, and he wants to get his comeuppance again. But come on, this is his job now. His job is just to put everyone over. But anyway,
no. I have to disagree to a degree. He will put people over, but he is so valuable on TV with whatever he's given to do.
Oh, I agree with that.
And
absolutely.
Miz working with Carmelo Hayes again. For the IWC, they might look at it as like, oh, he's getting buried. But again, Miz will say this: whatever you give me to do, I will do it to the best of my ability. He's trying to give the rub to Carmelo Hayes and try to make what's that tag team name? Awesome, awesome, or something?
Awesome him or something like that.
Yeah, whatever the case. But again, you understand. Whatever he's
him or something like that.
Yeah, Miz him, whatever. But
some shit like that.
He's trying to get that over. And again, when he's given time to be on the mic and then tell his own truth bombs, yeah, he told the truth. But again, what's he going to do? He's going to do his job. He took the black mass kick from Aleister Black. And then, of course, next week, he's going to fight Aleister Black and then do the right thing for business purposes. It is what it is.
100%, man. But how do you feel about Aleister Black anyway, being back in WWE? Hearing his familiar tune was cool. The entrance, everything about him was pretty cool. I just felt like he should have had that black eye still, the black mass around his eye. Because it continued on from the last, his first run to
long-term storytelling. He's still selling that eye.
I see that.
Seth Rollins. Mark my words. If the draft goes the way it's supposed to go, Aleister Black will get his revenge against Seth Rollins soon. He will fight him again to combat that eye. It's bound to happen.
Zane, thanks. It's Mellow Don't Miz, by the way. That's what the tag team's called. But anyway, I couldn't give a shit about what their team's called. But that's a decent name anyway. What was I going to say? Look, I just feel like they should. I truly think he will get back to Raw. And I do think he'll become the new leader of Judgment Day, if you want to call it a leader, because supposedly they don't have a leader. They're all equals, right? So
no, the true leader of Judgment Day is the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, Dominic. Let's not get it twisted.
Actually, how did you feel about that? There was a lot of heat with him winning amongst my peers anyway.
I got no heat with Dominic winning. I was, you know what?
Vet, for example, was calling him, he's a Nepo kid. If he wasn't Ray's son, which is true, all right, fine. He wouldn't actually be Intercontinental Champion. I get that because he was saying, look at his look. He's got no promo other than the booze. You know what I mean? And when he puts it like that, I get where he's coming from. But that doesn't mean shit, though, to me, because the funny thing is, it doesn't matter. He's there now. And the fact that he is there, for me, he's earned it.
Yeah. He's a Nepo kid that's paid his dues, earned his stripes, been given. If he was a real Nepo kid, he would have still been a good guy with Ray at his side, winning the Intercontinental title, winning the NXT North American title. Then we would have started hating him just because. But he turned heel, joined Judgment Day, was mommy's bitch. It worked. It just worked. And of course, the Professor's Perspective Awards. Let's not forget this. 2023 Career Renaissance winner. I gave it to Dominic Mysterio. And I said during the Professor's Perspective Awards on the PWSO YouTube networks, I said in 2025 he's going to win a title. Well, he won a goddamn title. He won the IC title. So I'm going to say this. I will not be surprised in 2026, next year, he's going to be a world heavyweight champion because you got 2 belts.
No, whoa.
I'm saying it right now. This man is going to be the world heavyweight champion. Jey Uso is not going to Jey Uso could lose the belt to Dominic Mysterio, and I will not be mad. I will actually be Mexican that day and celebrate Cinco de Mayo with Dominic Mysterio.
No, you say you'll be Mexican, not Puerto Rican. That's it.
No, I'll be Mexican that day with Dominic.
Shit,
I will be.
I hope that happens. Just so I see that. I want you to wear sombrero to the next show that we do, like during 2026.
I'll wear the Mexican flag on my back with Dominic, just celebrating.
Everybody remember him saying that just quietly.
Anyway, 2026, he will be the world heavyweight champion. I don't care.
Wow. I'm not gonna say that. Sorry, Prof. I was one of those guys that also said that he's going to win the IC belt, and I did put him over to win, and he did. So I'm happy about that. But as far as being world champion, oh my God, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know just yet. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Zane in the chat said something that could happen in 2025.
That I can see, actually. That I agree with him. Dominic will be the triple champion. Mega champion soon.
My bookmark is WWE title. I'm just saying. I'm just bookmarking a WWE championship. But if he's triple A,
if you're gonna put that on equal pedestal with the WWE.
Triple A has got a legacy too. If you're gonna make him a mega champion, I'm not gonna be mad at that.
No, I think that'd be funny, dude. I think Mexico would destroy him, dude. I mean, imagine the heat he would get in Mexico, bro. Oh, my God.
You sure you get heat or he would get a parade? Remember that.
I don't know about a parade, nah.
Name in Mexico is legendary. Mysterio,
I get that.
Guerrero, El Grande Americano, those are legends in Mexico. Let's not forget it.
Grande Americano is definitely the biggest legend of them all. But as far as Dominic, I don't know, man. I'll be surprised if he got cheered. Because the thing is, the Mexican wrestling fans, they're not idiots. They're smart, dude. So they'll boo him because they know they have to boo him because he's a problem child to Rey Mysterio, right? So,
but they'll pay to see him too. Let's not get it twisted. They'll boo him out the building, but they'll pay to see him too.
Oh God. Gruz says Dominic Mysterio Guerrero will win Money in the Bank. But as IC champion, Gruz, or without the belt? Imagine both.
See, Gruz, Zane, they understand where the professor's coming from. When I made him Career Renaissance winner, I knew what I was talking about. I knew where he was going with this. Don't get it twisted, Jimmy. Don't get it twisted.
Zane says Professor ain't gonna holler at anybody. He also says that the difference is I'll put the word in for triple A. Apparently, allegedly, because Zane is vicious. He's the man. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's funny as hell, though. Mexico is behind, he claims. Don't say it too loud. But anyway, that's interesting. I doubt he'll win it, but that's just me. I hope I'm wrong, though. I hope you're right for sure, because I'll make things very interesting. But anyway, next we got LA Knight though versus Drew McIntyre for a number one contenders match, or number one contenders US championship match between Knight and McIntyre, to face Jacob Fatu. What do you think of this match, dude? It was a no contest in the end, but where do we go from here?
Drew won by DQ. He's the number one contender.
Did he?
Yeah.
He ended up winning by DQ? I thought it was a no contest in the end.
I think if they're gonna change the rules, but from what I saw on the graphics, they said Drew McIntyre won by DQ. So he's the number one contender.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, chat. Is he right? Did he win by DQ? Well, whatever the case, it's a weak win. I get it. They're trying to protect LA Knight as well. But then why have this match? Like, how do you feel about Drew McIntyre sort of being left to be in this like predicament? Because I feel like he's stepping down after, going up against. Yeah, see, thank you, Mish. Mish says, wow, everyone's saying different things. So I don't know what's true or what's
I saw
not.
the graphic again. I saw the graphic last night. I saw he won by DQ.
Mish says he saw no contest. Bruce says McIntyre won. We still don't have a clue what happened.
They'll fix it by SmackDown, and they'll probably rebook it anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I think because what was it? LA Knight got attacked first by Solo, right? Or was it Drew? No, it was Drew. It was Drew. Drew got the spike by Solo, and that's why.
And then Priest. Then Priest came in.
Yeah, and then that's why they stopped it. But then because of that, traditionally, he won by disqualification. LA Knight
I'll lean
lost.
towards that. You're right. Majority wins.
It wasn't
2-2. We need one more.
Right. It wasn't an all-out clusterfuck. How many nights? I'm just saying that. But again, they'll fix it.
Well, Zane also says Drew won by disqualification. So I'll say that. I thought it was a no contest for whatever reason. Mish said apparently on Bleacher Report they put up no contest. So I don't know, but
you know what?
I guess he won.
You know why? I think it should be a no contest because then you'll do a fatal 4-way. You'll do Drew.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
LA Knight, and then you'll do Solo, and then you'll do Jacob because Solo will wiggle his way into this match, trying to defend his brother and make sure that nobody takes the U.S. title away from the family. That's the way it works for me. Yeah, that's the way it will work.
I kind of like that storyline too, man. Like, I do think Solo will protect Jacob on keeping the belt in the family, but he'll go after it anyway.
Right.
If that makes any sense. Just as long as it stays within the family, there'll be like that jealousy, obviously.
Can't you see the fatal 4? Like if they do a fatal 4-way, like he kicks away LA Knight, he kicks away Drew McIntyre, from the pin, like a pinfall situation, right? But then Solo will pin like LA Knight, and then Jacob's like, wait a minute, what the hell are you doing? That's my belt. And then you fan the flames, you let it simmer, if you will, and all that stuff.
If you will. Well, you know what? Don't put it past them. They might still do that. Even though they say that Drew won, I can see LA Knight complaining. I can see Priest complaining. And then somehow we do end up in a fatal 4-way, even though it was overbooked if they do it that way.
But we got to remember, Backlash is next. So sometimes
2 weeks.
You want to harbor on to having a rematch from Mania. So I can't.
Right.
Priest against McIntyre can happen at Backlash again, and then you could do a LA Knight and Jacob Fatu rematch at Backlash again. So it is. I won't be surprised about that too.
That'd be a weird way of going back to that, though. If it's a no contest, sure, they'll do that. If it's a win by McIntyre, I feel like they have to sort of. He sort of needs to be in that match.
It could work in McIntyre's favor because you screwed me again. I won it.
Exactly.
I won the match, and you're still screwing Drew.
You still screwed me.
Yeah, Drew McIntyre.
Well, that's his gimmick, right?
Right. He gets screwed too many times, so it could work. It works beautifully too.
I'd rather go with that one actually by far because it makes the most sense. But anyway, we don't know. We'll see what happens. Apparently Drew won, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like I said, come next week. But we got the main event next, though, Prof. I mean, shit. It is a TLC tag team
I
tournament.
got to hear something from you. Professor, you was right. I told you when I was a guest host on Smack Attack.
You said it. No, you did 2 weeks ago.
Street Profits was not going to get a WrestleMania match. I said it. They were not going to get it. It was going to be a SmackDown match, and lo and behold, we got it.
I'll give you that, man. And that was 2 weeks ago when we did the show last, right?
Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be right. That was one of the things I did not want to be right about, But
you were. I'll give you that, man. You're definitely right. And you called it from 2 weeks ago before anyone even saw it coming. So I'll give you that for sure, man. But nevertheless, what a car crash this match was, dude. I mean, it's not up there when it comes to.
This was the match of the night. Let's be fair here. And
okay, all right. It was.
And people said this should have been on Mania, and No, this is why it shouldn't have been on Mania. This is why it needed to be on SmackDown. Number one, for the ratings. Number two, it's, they got the time to do it. They got, I think, 20, 25 minutes of TV time to do this TLC match.
Easily.
You got the prosthetic leg spot from Montez Ford,
what the hell?
which was funny as shit. And then you got the ladder spear spot, recreating WrestleMania 17.
That was bad though, dude. That was Dawkins. Eesh.
Well,
the way he
Dawkins
pulled that off.
It looked like he was afraid of heights. So he's like, I'm trying, I'll do it. But you could see he was so scared to like do the full spear. And again, gravity is a motherfucker. So he's like, I don't want to break my shoulders.
Dude, he went knees first through the table, which looked like it hurt his leg a bit. But I don't know. Right. Could be wrong.
But it looked like he's afraid of heights. So maybe he was like, I'll do my best to make it work. It is what it is. But again, this match was made for SmackDown. It wasn't made for WrestleMania. I think people wanted it on WrestleMania. Again, for the culture, if you will. I understand that. But this match needed to be on SmackDown. It didn't need to be on WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree with Gross. You're saying that Dawkins was too big for that spot. I was thinking Montez should have friggin' done that spot instead.
No, because Montez, to win the match, had to do what he had to do too, to be athletic.
I get that.
On the ladder too.
But still, man, like Dawkins, it didn't look right. And even maybe the camera angles were all wrong too, to be honest.
Dawkins was scared. It looked like he was afraid of heights. I'm like, I got to do this thing. I got to make it work. It just, again, it was a bad spot, but I think circumstances beyond Dawkins' control. If you're afraid of heights, Jimmy, you're afraid of heights. It just looked like it to me. Like, I can't do it. And then you get nervous to do a spot like that, especially for his size. I think, what is he, 260, 270?
Easy, at least.
Right, 270. You're asking this big man to do that. You can see people with experience with the ladders. Dawkins is not. Montez is. Tommaso Ciampa is. Gargano is. And, of course, the Motor City Machine Guns with their, ladder match experience from, TNA, X Division, all that stuff. Oh, somebody was the odd man out. One of these things is doing his own thing. It was Dawkins.
Oh, shit, man. What did you think of the match anyway? Obviously, the right team did win. I still feel like we need more tag teams, but in this division, the tag division just absolutely sucks for the Street Profits, in my opinion. They need some bigger dudes, man, like to go up against. Everyone's like just, you got the Mini City Machine Guns. Yes, I call them that, right? They're just too small. Yeah, they can go. Yeah, I liked them back in TNA years ago. Not really so much so now. Hate the Raise Your Fist song. It's just dumb. Raise your fist. Boom, boom. I just can't stand that shit. But in saying that, they can still go, considering they're in their 40s now, I believe. Mm-hmm. And even Gargano, I mean, Ciampa looks weird without a beard, dude. I know he had an accident or some shit and needed stitches on his chin, and that's why he had to shave the beard. But how weird does he look without it, dude?
Well, he looks like ROH Ciampa when he didn't have the beard.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's trying to go back to that that maniacal
psychopath.
Yeah, the Sicilian psychopath. It works that way. But
they were calling him that again.
But it's like I said 2 weeks ago. I'll still harbor on it. When they split the titles up last year, they had no foresight. At least when you had undisputed tag team champions, the tag team champions could go on Raw, could go on SmackDown, and stuff like that. Go back and forth. That's what it's needed. If you do it right, the Street Profits could go on Raw and have those matches with, let's say, the War Raiders and shit like that. And then they come back to SmackDown. It's fresh. 2 different tag team champions just doesn't work for WWE. It just doesn't. I don't know why. It just doesn't. 2 heavyweight champions singles, it works. An Intercontinental champion and a U.S. champion works. But the tag teams needs to be united. That's why the women's tag team championships, they can be on all 3 brands, and it makes sense to me. The men's tag teams, you can't have 2 difference. You have it just is.
If it was up to me, but you're right though. I do agree that 2 world champions does work, and same with the IC and the US championships. But I wouldn't mind if all champions were floaters. You know what I mean? With all brands, I think it would make things a lot more interesting again. Remember when they did that back in 2002? Mm-hmm. For a little bit, it didn't even feel like it lasted that long. Now that I think about it, but I like it.
And the writing was at least interesting with the battles with the GMs trying to like wiggle their man. into the number one contender spot and all that stuff. It made it interesting. The war between the GMs, you could still have that war between Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis if you have a unified champion like that, but they don't want to do that.
Yeah, I just feel like they should, consider it, but it works for now. But with the tag belts, like you said, 100% unify them. We need it done ASAP because it's not working, man. It is not working at all. Because what are you going to do? Have the same sort of matchups between 4 different teams all the time?
Yeah, it gets bad. It gets boring, and then that's why you do the drafts every 3 months.
Right,
then,
exactly.
Switch them.
Yeah. So, that's my issue. But nevertheless, though, as you said, the Street Profits do retain those championship belts, the tag championship belts, that is. And, we're off to the races. Grus says, I need a Rusev versus Jacob Fatu match. Oh, boy, that'd be a Machka, all right. But Fatu is way better still than Rusev. I'm still surprised that Rusev actually is back in WWE because me personally, I felt like, would WWE even be interested in bringing him back? You know what I mean? And I guess they were. But what a waste of 5 years he had in AEW.
In Triple H's mind, there were certain people in NXT that he really gravitated towards and wanted to see them bigger. Aleister Black, Rusev's a great example.
He wasn't long, though. He wasn't in NXT for that long, Rusev.
No, but Triple H, the Triple H guys, you will see them sprinkling in. And the Triple H guys in a high-profile situation, it's not about championships, how many nights, don't get me wrong, but it's high-profile situations. You will see Triple H guys in higher lights. That's what it is.
Interesting. But you're right. It is what it is. But yeah, how good does he look, by the way? Rusev looks like an absolute beast right now, dude.
I thought he was injured for the last 3 years, so it is. Now he looks healthy on Raw.
He does. He actually does.
Aleister Black was hurt in AEW, right? And then he's back here, so Malachi.
Well, it was no secret that he's been wanting to come back to WWE for years now. At this point, I'm talking about Malachi Black, Aleister Black, whatever you want to call him. And finally, he got his wish because he got out of his contract very early. I'm pretty sure he still had 2 years left or 3 years left on his AEW contract at the time when he got released.
But again, the power play. My wife better have a belt before I come on TV.
Of course.
If not, I'm back on Wednesdays. That's it. And he got his wish.
Yeah. Before we go, Grus also says Austin Theory sure isn't a Triple H guy.
That's surprising. That's surprising to me.
What's going on with them, dude? Waller and Theory. Yeah, and he's a Vince guy, funny enough.
No, Austin Theory turned into a Vince guy because Vince saw the comedy in Austin Theory. But being a Vince guy, you saw where Austin Theory was. But Austin Theory has so much untapped potential that, again, if you do it right, we don't have, you could do Evolution. Braun Breaker. I've seen those memes. Braun Breaker, Austin Theory, Seth Rollins.
That'd be good.
Yeah, the 3-headed monster with Paul Heyman as the manager, that could work. But again, I think
like that. I like that idea, actually.
Austin Theory is a Triple H guy, but he's an NXT guy. It's but for WWE purposes, I don't know. He's lost the sauce on that one because again,
is it Waller, his fault though, dude?
Austin or Triple H?
No, Theory's. I don't think it's really Theory's fault.
They haven't given them anything proper.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean.
When they won the tag team championships last year, I was like, oh, okay, they have the titles. They could be the chicken shit champions. They could lose by disqualification, but still keep the titles. They didn't keep the belts that long. They didn't do it. There was no long-term planning with Waller and Theory because they're very entertaining. They're very entertaining with their gimmick.
They are too, man. Shit. Right. Yeah, no, I agree. And what happens even with Waller here? We haven't heard a peep from them now in a few weeks, dude.
You might see them. You might see Waller go back down to NXT.
Oh, that'd be harsh on him because I don't think he needs it. He's a very confident guy as well.
It's not about needing it now. It's just
there's no room.
There's no room. And then you and I might see NXT as developmental, but I'll say this too: it's a bridge. If you're not doing anything on SmackDown and you're not doing anything on Raw, you go back down to NXT, get your street cred up, if you will, and then Waller can go after those titles.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's hope so. But Grus says, please make Austin Theory a Paul Heyman guy. Yeah.
It writes itself.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does. Mish says, what about Evolve having Waller or Theory down there with the kiddos and the indie talents? Funny you bring that up, Mish, because, of course, Theory made his name in Evolve, actually, before he got into WWE, if you remember. And he was great in Evolve. But also with Waller, I mean, geez, wouldn't that be a real step down for Waller? I mean, I'm not hating on that, but I'm going by how he would take it.
Everybody has an ego, right?
Right.
So Waller has been on Netflix. He's been on the USA Network. Now you want me to go down to Tubi and be on Evolve? Oh my God!
Shit.
That's a hit on your ego. But again, but they can, in theory, they can develop the younger generation of people on Evolve. They can be the stalwarts of Evolve, giving the rub if it works. Well, you really want to send them down, be LFG coaches. I don't know.
No, they're too young for that, probably. But yeah. I mean, could you take them seriously as well? Imagine that. It just wouldn't work for them.
But everybody has an ego, and I understand. But again, for business-wise, Evolve makes sense because, again, they can give the rub to the young guys, and they can teach them the rights and the wrongs.
I've been contemplating on doing a show about Evolve, right?
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do
everyone tells me that. Everyone's telling me that. So, really,
I don't watch Evolve because I don't. No, it's not about it being bad. I don't care. Nobody cares.
Yeah, that's true.
It's for Triple H to care. It's for William Regal to care. It's for HBK to care because they're scouting the talent to see if they're coming up on TV. It's not about like wanting to watch Evolve for storylines. It's not about wanting to, again, it's like independent wrestling. The right people will watch indie wrestling to scout, to get them on AEW, to get them on WWE TV, to get them to New Japan. But you gotta start somewhere. I understand that, but it's not something to invest in.
Well, as Mish says, Jeff Lemon does an Evolve show. I knew that with White Chocolate, I think, right, Mish? On your very network, as a matter of fact. I actually have listened to a couple of his shows. So, yeah, I am aware of that. I still listen to all your shows, Mish. So, yeah, I'm very aware of that. But, yeah, it's funny because I did listen to him and White Chocolate's first Evolve show initially. And
we'll see how long that lasts. We'll see how long that lasts.
Hey, one thing about Jeff, though, I'll give him this.
He's committed to it. He'll be committed to it, but
dude, he watches. Like, you won't watch the main roster shit compared to like MLW, NXT, Evolve. You know what I mean? He loves all that shit. So, I'll take my hat off to him. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'll listen to I'll listen to Lips doing the NWA and MLW show review shows.
Well, he does watch NWA as well. I don't think he reviews it, obviously, but he does.
And Natty's going after the women's title in NWA.
That's nuts. What's going on there? Even did you see her showing in the Bloodsport?
Mm-hmm. And then they worked out it, and they worked an angle out for NWA purposes. It's working with the companies, just like everybody asked for partnerships. They asked for WWE to do partnerships, and now they're giving it.
Yeah, they are. I mean, geez, who would have thought? But they're not mentioning NWA by name, pretty much. I mean, they have, but it's very minimal, of course. Mm-hmm. But I think that covers it, Prof. I think we're done, dude, in under 2 hours, surprisingly. Because usually we'll hit around that 2 hour mark.
Nice.
Yeah, especially after all the news that we spoke about earlier. But in saying that, Prof, tell them what you're up to and what you're doing, man.
Well, you can find me on the Twitter at PWSOPRF. That's PWSOProf. And, of course, I host the most nostalgic podcast out there on the Harmony Media Group at Podbean.com. It's called Wrestling Reflection Podcast with myself. So we'll be back next week to do a what if Scott Hall and Razor Ramon actually became the World Heavyweight Champion. We're going to do a Razor Ramon booking as WWF Champion and a Scott Hall booking as WCW Champion. And that'll hit the Podbean streams next weekend on Hami Media Group at Podbean.com. So look out for that.
Do me a favor, Prof, because you kind of went blank at first when you were saying that. You're still going in and out. Say that to start bit again, man. I know you said Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, but nobody caught the first part.
We're doing a what if Scott Hall and Razor Ramon was the world heavyweight champion.
No, I'm
It'll
looking
be
forward to that.
available
As a matter
next
of fact.
next weekend on the Podbean stream.
Awesome. Tell them where they can follow you, man, on the Twitter or the X, whatever it is.
Oh, PWSO PROF, PWSO Prof.
No, there we go. There we go. Did the Wednesday Locker Room boys do a WrestleMania review show? Do you know?
They talked about it. Yes, they did. Kind of.
Okay,
They talked about the end. They did what we did. Talked about The Rock. Talked about Triple H. Talked about the main event and stuff like that.
Mind you, you can listen to it right here on Humming Media Group's YouTube channel and, of course, on the Podbean at hummingmediagroup.podbean.com, where you can also catch the Professor's shows as well. You know, Pro Wrestling Reflection, What If, and the Spotlight, of course, are all right there at Humming Media Group's Podbean channel. But if you want to follow me, you can at DJ Massifix on Twitter. Right now, I'm still locked, as I've said every friggin' week. I haven't been able to get in, but I'm going to try to get in again soon. Hopefully I can, but that's where you can follow me. Also, like and subscribe right here at Humming Media Group's YouTube channel, of course. Please like and subscribe. Share it out. We would be very much appreciative if you've all done that. Also at channelattitude.com, where for $5, not only do you get the realest, but the best talk in all of pro wrestling. And that's it. That's about it from me. So in saying that, Prof, I am Jimmy T. That is the Professor Chabelo Vera Cruz. And you've been listening and watching the Smack Attack right here on the Media Group's YouTube channel and on channelattitude.com after the fact. And we're out. And thank you to everyone that joined us in the chat, especially you, Mish. We really appreciate that, man. And the fact that you stayed the whole show. Which, you know, much love for that. So go check out Wrestling Soup also. You're a dummy if you don't, because they're one of the best to be doing it on the interwebs. So go check them out. So there, that's it. We're done. Peace.
Peace.
سبحان فالق الإصباح. الله أكبر.
Ding dong. Hello?
Yes, that's right, infidels. You found us here, channelattitude.com, Hameen Media Group, where you get the most real talk, the best reviews of all your favorite wrestling shows from AEW and WWE, Impact, and more, because we're going to break it all down with the best staff in professional wrestling at HMG. So you don't need to go anywhere else, because there's no 5 stars here. There's only $5 face slaps, infidel.
Allahu Akbar.
So sign up today, channelattitude.com, Hameen Media Group, and join the Hameen Army for the most real talk in professional wrestling. YOLO!
This is Channel Attitude. Your voice, your right, your freedom.